Welcome everyone to Trail Tales. I'm your host, Tom Funk. We will continue with our 50 Hikes in Michigan's Upper Peninsula series. And today, probably the most popular trail in Porcupine Mountains for day hikers, and that is the Summit Peak Trail. So let's put on your boots and let's get hiking here. Alright, so we are in the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. This is a 1 mile round trip. It'll take you about 45 minutes. There is a moderate gradient to this. And it does offer an observation tower at the end with sweeping views of the landscape. Map geeks, hey, 7.5 Underwood Hill. And amenities, there are composting toilets, there's drinking water, and interpretation stations and signs along the way. And hiking boots, sure, but you can get away with tennis shoes on this one. And pets are welcome on the trail. Until 1958, Summit Peak at 1,958 feet above sea level was the highest point in Michigan. If you're puzzled, not having heard of a major geological event thrusting up and creating a new high point, don't worry. It's because two other peaks farther east near Baraga, Mount Arvon, and Mount Curwood, and those are elevations of 1,978 feet and 1,979 feet, respectively, were discovered to be higher, relegating Summit Peak to third place. This particular high point did not even have an official name recognized by the National Board of Geographical Names. It was known before 1956 as, and I quote, the peak 1 mile south of Mirror Lake. Unromantic as that was, the name State Summit was suggested to recognize as this is the highest point in Michigan. The name State Summit never stuck, but Summit Peak did. However, if you climb to the tops of Mount Arvon and or Mount Curwood, there are no views whatsoever. You're just standing in the middle of a forest. Also, considering that you are higher than those two peaks when you are at the top of the observation tower at Summit Peak, it's all made up for. Summit Peak, along with Porcupine Mountains, were formed more than 4 billion years ago when a mid-continental rift of volcanic action created a mountain chain that stretched from St. Louis to the Upper Peninsula, bending in a U-shape south into the Lower Peninsula. Summit Peak is made of the oldest rock found in the Porkies. This pinkish-gray igneous rock called rhyolite makes up most of the higher elevations in the park's interior. Numerous fault lines, mostly in the southeast part of the park, make for a great geology lesson. At the trailhead, there are interpretive panels that describe the geology in detail, including maps and photographs of the various volcanic rocks in the area. The riskiest activity here is hiking during electrical storms. However, high winds accompanying these great storms have had a significant impact on the ecology of the area. Most notably, a strong storm on June 30th, 1953 blew through the area with such great power and strength that it decimated about 5,000 acres of forest in the area. The summit, with its height and exposure to the elements, was particularly hard hit. Old-growth trees, many several feet in diameter, were ripped out of the ground and scattered like toothpicks. There's an overlook and a tower that takes you 30 feet above the peak. Enjoy a 270-degree view, and on a clear day, you'll be able to see Minnesota. The Summit Peak Trail is popular with day users and is a relatively easy hike. Several benches and a boardwalk make the climb necessary to reach the tower somewhat easier. Although it's still uphill, the passage is wide and well maintained, and the crushed gravel trail surface makes for good footing. The trail is marked with blue painted dots for backpackers through hiking the Beaver Creek Trail. From Silver City, take M107 west and turn south on South Boundary Road. Take South Boundary Road 12 miles to Summit Peak, and it is well marked. This is a popular area for day trippers due to its shortness and the views it provides. Starting out, you will immediately encounter a sharp climb through the hardwood forest. Park planners saw the need for resting the weary, and there's a bench just 100 yards up the hill. The pathway continues to climb and cross the contour of the hill, and there is another bench at the halfway mark just when your course starts to level out and bend to your left. An overlook to your left, down some steps to a deck, complete with a telescope, welcomes those who need a break in a beautiful westward view of the forest below and Lake Superior in the distance. This unspoiled vista reminds us of why the Porkies and their continued preservation are so important to us. After enjoying the view from the overlook, turn around and head back up the stairs. An arch over a boardwalk indicates that Summit Peak is 0.3 miles uphill. The park has built a boardwalk that makes the walk easy on everyone. The alternative is ankle-twisting roots and rocks. It's a straight shot through the forest, but you will have to climb more than 100 steps to spread out this 0.3-mile walk. The 30-foot observation tower sits atop of Summit Peak, which is 1,958 feet above sea level. Let the wind blow through your hair as you collect your thoughts and admire the 270-degree view. On a clear day, you can see nearly 100 miles into the distance. To the northwest is Isle Royale National Park. Imagine standing on the edge of a large bowl. The depression that makes this bowl holds Lake Superior, and the edge on the other side is where the rock formation emerges again, only 50 miles away. To the southeast is the smokestack from the White Pine Mine. This mine's heyday harvesting copper was from 1955 until it shut down in 1995. Billions of tons of copper have been removed from the Precambrian Nonsuch Shale, and the White Pine was the second most productive North American copper mine in 1964. A keen eye can see the massive pile of tailings, leftover rock waste from the mine. Berglund Tower is just southeast of White Pine and is one of the last remaining fire watchtowers in the Ottawa National Forest. Before the advent of airplanes and satellites, rangers with a penchant for solitude, elevated high above the tree canopy on the peaks of mountains and hills, would keep watch for forest fires. Lake of the Clouds, although very close by, is obscured by a ridge covered in trees. Due north of your current position, you can make out the valley that holds this pristine lake. An interpretive map at the tower and overlook identifies many of the features on the landscape. Take a camera with you and your time to enjoy one of the best unspoiled views in Michigan and in the Midwest. So Summit Peak is a must-do hike in the Porcupine Mountains. If you only have time for one hike, make it this one, just because it affords you all these great views. All right, thanks for joining me today on Trail Tales. I'm Tom Funk, your host, and continue following along with us, and you can reach out to me via social media, Tom Funk's Worldly Adventures on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel. It is Tom's Worldly Adventures, and it has hiking videos on it as well. Check it out when you have some time. All right, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again